You have probably noticed it. You went to the Philippines and something moved faster than you expected, faster than anything you had experienced in Thailand, faster than anything you were prepared for. She was warm on the first evening, closer by the second drink, and by the end of the night, something had happened that in Thailand would have taken 3 visits and a significant amount of patience. You enjoyed it. But part of you also wondered, what does this actually mean? Is this real? And why is it so different from what I know? Here is what is actually happening and why understanding the Filipina first date dynamic makes you understand Thai women in a way you could not before. The single biggest misreading foreign men make about Filipinas who move quickly is that speed equals low standards. It does not. From what men have consistently told me, and from what I understand about Filipino culture, it means she decided fast, genuinely, and based on something real she read in you in the first hour. Filipinas are capable of making genuine emotional decisions in a compressed time frame that would take a Thai woman weeks to arrive at. The speed is cultural, not moral. Filipino culture is emotionally expressive in a way that Thai culture simply is not. Feelings are announced here, warmth is immediate, connection is established verbally and physically within the first evening. Holding back is not considered dignified restraint in the Philippines, it is considered coldness. A Filipina who is attracted to a man experiences that attraction as something to act on, not something to protect herself from. She has not been trained to treat her own desire as a liability the way women in more reserved cultures often have been. First evening, 2 hours in, she was already close armed, touching his, laughing at everything, making it clear without saying anything. He was used to Thailand, where this would be the beginning of a long and patient process. He recalibrated, he moved with her. Later he thought, she decided, in the first hour. Everything after that was simply her following through. Do not interpret her speed as desperation or as a lack of standards. Read it as genuine, fast decision making and respond with equal honesty. If you are not equally decided, say so. Moving with her pace when you are not genuinely there is where the real damage happens on her side, not yours. She was not easy. She was decided. There is a difference that most men never bother to understand. Before we continue, please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any videos in the future. This is the sharpest contrast between the two cultures and the one that explains almost everything else. A Filipina leads with emotional connection. She feels first. She acts on what she feels. She figures out the practical details later. A Thai woman observes first. She watches. She collects data. She waits until her internal evaluation is complete before she moves at all. Neither approach is better. They produce very different first date experiences, and a man who has only experienced one will consistently misread the other. In Thailand, Krengjai and emotional restraint mean that a first date is largely an observation exercise. She is warm, but she is watching. What she gives you on the first evening is a fraction of what she is deciding on your behalf. In the Philippines, from what men have described to me, the first date is already the relationship in miniature. She is there, she is present, she is feeling it in real time and not hiding any of it. He had just come from 2 weeks in Thailand, patient, slow, reading small signals. First evening in Manila, she told him within 40 minutes that she liked him, directly, out loud, using those words. He did not know what to do with the information. He had spent 2 weeks learning to read silence. She had handed him a sentence. Calibrate to the culture you are in. The skills that serve you in Thailand will slow you down in the Philippines. The directness that works in Manila will feel aggressive in Bangkok. The most adaptable man does well in both countries. She said she liked him. Out loud, in a sentence. He had spent 2 weeks learning to read silence. He was completely unprepared. The Philippines is the most Catholic country in Asia. And yet, from what I understand of Filipino culture, Filipinos who move fast on a first date are not rare, not hidden, and not considered outliers within their own social circles. This apparent contradiction is key to understanding the Filipino psychology around intimacy, and I want to explain it as clearly as I can from the outside. Filipino Catholicism is deeply felt and also deeply pragmatic. Guilt is real. Confession exists. And the architecture of forgiveness means the moral ledger is never permanently closed. This creates a specific cultural permission structure around physical intimacy that outsiders consistently misread because they are applying a Protestant or a secular lens to a framework that operates on entirely different logic. She is not ignoring her faith. She is navigating it in a way that is culturally normal to her. The guilt she may feel is processed through a framework that does not require abstention as the only moral option. He noticed the small cross around her neck. There was a picture of the Virgin Mary on her bedside table. He had expected one thing to preclude the other. It did not. She went to Mass on Sunday without visible conflict. He realized he had been projecting a framework that was not hers onto a life he did not yet understand. Do not make her religion a point of confusion or a subject for analysis out loud. She has made her peace with it in a way that is entirely her own. Respect the complexity without demanding she explain it to you. She had a cross around her neck and no conflict in her eyes. He had been projecting a framework that was not hers. What a Filipina offers in a first night context, from what men who have experienced both have described to me, is warmth, emotional presence, physical openness, and a genuine desire to connect that is felt immediately. What a Thai woman builds over time is a different thing entirely. Layered, earned, increasingly specific, and in many cases more intense precisely because of the patience that preceded it. The restraint that came before it becomes part of the experience itself. They are not the same. A man who has had both understands something about intimacy that most men never access. Fast intimacy produces connection through immediacy. Two people who skip the slow build and meet in warmth directly. Slow intimacy produces connection through accumulation, every patient evening added to the next until something breaks open that could not have opened faster. He had been in Thailand 3 times. He knew what the slow build felt like, the patience, the small signals, the evening when everything finally shifted and gave him something that felt like it had been waiting the entire time. In Manila, it was different. No slow build, just warmth, immediately, and something real on the first night. He lay there afterward, comparing the two experiences. He could not decide which he preferred. He thought, I did not know intimacy had this many textures. Do not rank these experiences against each other. They are teaching you different things about connection and about yourself. He could not decide which he preferred. He thought, I did not know intimacy had this many textures. Tell me in the comments, have you experienced both, Philippines and Thailand? I want to know what you found different. Be specific. Quick thing before I continue everything I have been building toward in this video, how to read these women correctly, how to approach them without the wrong assumptions, how to move from the first conversation to something real. I wrote it all down. The guide is called From Hello to Her Bedroom, specifically written for Thailand, but the principles transfer. 2 messages this week. Carl from Minneapolis, 52, he had visited both countries and always left the Philippines feeling like something had started and Thailand feeling like something was missing. He used the guide to understand the difference and said his next Thailand trip was the first time he felt as connected there as he always had in Manila. And Joe from Brisbane said, Chapter 4 on reading physical signals without words changed how he moved in both countries. His words, I am over 60 years old, but during my trip to Chiang Mai a few weeks ago, I had some of the best nights I've ever had. For now, the guide is only $14 and you can find it in the pinned comment. The speed of Filipina intimacy has a consequence that foreign men consistently underestimate. She attaches at the same speed she connects. A man who moves with her on the first night and then treats it as casual has created an asymmetry that will cost one of them something real, and it will not be him. This is not manipulation. It is simply how her emotional architecture works, and a man who does not understand it before he enters the dynamic has no excuse for not understanding it after. Filipino emotional culture does not have a casual layer in the way Western hookup culture does. When a Filipina is intimate with someone she has chosen, it means something to her that is not automatically negotiable. The man who treats it as purely physical is operating in a framework she does not share and was never told you were operating in. He had been honest with himself that he was not looking for anything serious. He had not been honest with her. She texted the morning after with warmth that assumed something had been established between them. He replied politely, vaguely. She understood immediately what his vagueness meant. She did not say so. He felt something he chose not to examine too closely. Be honest about your intentions before the first night, not as a speech, just as a clear signal about what you are and are not offering. A Filipina who knows what she is choosing is in a completely different position than one who was allowed to assume. This is the difference between a man and someone who simply got lucky. She attached at the same speed she connected. He had not been paying attention to what that meant. Before we continue, please subscribe to my channel so you won't miss any videos in the future. Men who come to Thailand after the Philippines consistently make the same mistake. They carry the Filipina's emotional speed with them and apply it to the first Thai woman they meet. She is warm but contained, friendly but not open. He reads this as disinterest and either stops pursuing or pushes harder, both of which are wrong. Her slowness is not the absence of desire. It is desire managed by a cultural framework that values restraint as dignity. Face saving means a Thai woman will not expose her feelings until she is certain, not because she does not have them, but because showing them prematurely is a form of vulnerability she has been raised to protect. The man who reads her patience as disinterest and stops pursuing is the man she thinks about for weeks afterward and never hears from again. He had just come from Manila. He expected the same warmth, the same speed, the same signals he had learned to read in the Philippines. She was warm but contained. He assumed she was not interested. He did not ask for a second meeting. She had been waiting for him to ask. Neither of them knew what the other was waiting for. Both of them went home alone. After the Philippines, reset your calibration completely before entering Thailand. Patience in Thailand is not endurance. It is the correct language. Speak it and she will respond in kind. She had been waiting for him to ask. He had assumed she was not interested. Both of them went home alone. The man who has spent real time in both countries and paid genuine attention to both comes away with something that cannot be learned in either country alone. He understands intimacy as a range, fast and slow, immediate and earned, emotionally loud and emotionally quiet. And he stops mistaking any single experience for the definition of what connection is supposed to look like. From what I understand of Filipino culture, it teaches him that warmth does not need to be withheld to be genuine, that immediacy is not shallowness, that a woman who gives quickly is not giving less. Thailand teaches him that patience is not weakness, and that what is earned slowly carries a specific weight that cannot be replicated by anything that arrived faster. Together, they produce a man who can read people rather than execute a script. The real education of moving between these two cultures is not about the women, it is about the man. He discovers which version of himself shows up when things move fast, whether he is present or whether he is just along for the ride. And he discovers which version of himself shows up when things require patience, whether he can stay interested, stay warm, stay curious, across weeks of small signals. Those are two different men. The best version contains both. He had been to Thailand 4 times and the Philippines twice. He sat on a plane between the two countries and thought about what each had shown him. In the Philippines, he had learned to be present immediately. In Thailand, he had learned to be patient without losing interest. He thought, I needed both. Use both experiences as education, not as a ranking exercise. The question is not which country is better for dating. It is who you become when you engage honestly with each of them. In the Philippines, he learned to be present immediately. In Thailand, he learned to wait without losing interest. He thought, I needed both. If you are moving between both countries and want a framework that actually works, the guide covers the Thailand side in full detail. Everything from first contact to the bedroom and beyond. Pinned comment. Filipinas and Thai women are not variations of the same thing. They are genuinely different relational cultures that require different languages, different patience, and different levels of honesty from the men who enter them. The men who do best in both countries are the ones who stopped expecting one to be the other and started learning to be fluent in each. Thailand will always be this channel's home. But understanding what sits beside it only makes the understanding of it deeper. If this channel is giving you something real, subscribe. And for the Thailand side of everything we talked about today, the guide is waiting in the pinned comment.